Don't do it. Don't embarrass us. Don't do these things. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to me. Hello. It's Eddie and Jimmy on our podcast. G'day, Jimmy. How are you, buddy?
Good, mate. It's great to have you back. You look refreshed, like you've actually enjoyed the holiday. I've got so many questions.
Oh, my goodness. Have we been having some the bit going on at the moment as well. The Victorian government's about to explode. Some big news as far as State of Origin football. A lot happening internationally as well. It's been a lot happening internationally in the women's footy on the weekend. It's going to be one of the great moments in Australian rules football. I think it's been underplayed so far. But how are you, mate?
I'm
Fire
good.
away.
I'm good. They're not the questions that I've got for you. The big question...
By the way, thanks to Hyundai and Fiji Airways, going to get over to Fiji. Paul Scurra, it is absolutely, pardon the pun, they are flying at the moment, Fiji Airways. It's going great guns. And Hyundai, the new Alexio, visit your local Hyundai dealer today. They're doing big things at Alexio. All right, let's go.
Did you pat the tiger?
What do you mean?
The reports I was getting, it was following your holiday via the news, of course. Ed McGuire, James Packer, and then Mike Tyson. So it's not setting up a joke that three men walk into a bar or on a boat.
Exactly.
Did you get to pat Mike Tyson's tiger? Does he bring it with him?
Mate, you don't pat Mike Tyson's tiger, do you?
No.
Just in case he.
And it's not a euphemism for anything.
Mike Tyson might pat you. If that's the case. No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't on.
Did you do any shadow boxing?
I wasn't with him. He
to go out of Broadie. We used to like
exactly. Yeah. I said, come on, mate. You know, the Catskills are nothing compared to the mean streets of Broadmeadows. No, I think Brett Ratner and Robert De Niro and Mike Tyson might have been on the week before me.
Okay.
Yeah, around the place. They've been on there before, put it that way. I don't know if they were around in that case. But no, I had a great time there. I was in the south of France and I was in Italy, which was great, doing the shows from over there, of course, watching all the football. The AFL app is fantastic, by the way, the international app. So you get to watch everything, including all the shows on Fox Footy and everything else that was going on. So, yeah, it's really great to follow it. On Instagram, I was obviously listening to our show, Footy Classified, everything else. So it really makes it. I'd go back to when I first started travelling overseas, during the football season, and the mayhem it used to cause. Even just sending my copy for the Herald Sun, just a news report, used to be out of control. Now you're sort of sitting, doing a radio show on Gold FM. Am I allowed to say Gold on here? Or is this still part of 3AW?
We're in
it's FM. It doesn't matter.
We're actually in your building. So
we are. It's my building. It's my building, and I'll cry if I want
to. No, we missed you, of course. Sam Dockey did a magnificent job.
He did. Thanks, Sam. Thank you very much.
But you're a man whose brain never sits idle. You're always in a suit, but this time you're in a bathing suit, of course.
Yes.
So what big idea? Because often you do your best thinking when you're waiting for airplanes and boats, planes, trains, and automobiles. You're always a big picture, a big ideas, man. That's why I enjoy the conversations with you. I don't need to pump you up, but
thank you.
That's
feel free. I won't interrupt.
So when you landed back in Melbourne, what was the big thing swirling around in Ed McGuire's head?
I think one of the things that really I came back to, and I've sort of made it a bit of a rule now to get out of town in June, July, mainly because people go mad. Right? People in Australia, the winter comes, season has been going a long time. The same stories that I left are actually still the same stories. Carlton got it down from 7 to 5 people for their, is Hurdy going to get the job? A month ago they should have just given it to Josh Fraser and given it to Hurdy and let's get on with life. So we can strangle these things out a fair bit. The same things with the rules. One of the things that I think we need to get back to is actually enjoying it, enjoying the game a lot more. Again, you watch the World Cup and for all the stupidity and madness that went on there was real joy. Yep. The Scottish supporters going over and taking over Boston, the great fun that happened. The stadia. You look at the stadia in America and you realise that's where we need to go. We can't go backwards with our stadia. We need to go forwards on it. Let's get to a position on Tasmania quickly and stop making this feel like you're actually going through chemotherapy to get to the actual result. Let's make the enthusiasm of our game. Let's stop letting the dullards who just drag it down every week. Now, I don't mind having the shows where you're examining. We sit on them.
Yep.
Footy Classified's a bit like that. The agenda setters, that's what they're doing. That's right. So there's plenty of room for everybody. But I just thought, there is not necessarily talking down. You've still got to cover the stories. But I think we unnecessarily talk things down. I think we can get to things a lot quicker. We'll speak about the issue that happened with the booing, for example. example, in Adelaide. Now, that should have been sorted out last week. The first day I got back, I was on 5AA over there with Tim McGuire's and Stephen Rowe. And it was Rowe who brought it up. He said, what about your mate Isaac Quaynor, Suki Lala and all that. I said, hang on a second. And I actually said to them, this is what's going to happen. This will be the reaction to it. Don't do it. Now, forget that it was me saying it, but, we've got to get past actually the narkness of things all the time, the narkiness. Just because I was a former president of Collingwood, I'm not being one-eyed. I love the game. Adelaide are fantastic. Isaac Quaynor's a great young fella, and he was punished, right? Everyone wants to move forward, but you actually got to let it go through. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on in general. But I think that the other one, I think we really have to look at the internationalisation of our game. Not ridiculously, and not shit-can it every time somebody says, let's try something in China, and then everyone sits there and goes, oh, that was a waste of time. It actually wasn't. Port Adelaide made a lot of money out of it.
Got a long-term sponsor.
And they should have lent into it, okay? They being the football world. Instead, everybody looked at all the negatives. This Saturday night, I think is one of the most significant events in football. Now, I keep hearing the poo-pooing of the women's game as well, but it has given us an opportunity for Australia to play Ireland in an international match playing Australian rules football, not the hybrid game. They're playing Aussie rules football. Now, was this day ever going to come? And it has. It's going to happen on Saturday, mate. It's going to be huge.
Game too.
But not only that, and this is again, some of the female players who came out, it should be at the SCG. No, it shouldn't. Let it grow into what it needs to be. It doesn't need to be another game of football. It needs to be a social phenomenon. The fact that the pubs are going to be absolutely overflowing around Sydney and hopefully down here and all the areas where the Irish diaspora are, but hopefully people get involved in it as well. I've spoken to the Irish girls. This is the biggest thing to happen to them in their lives, that they can actually pull on the Guernsey of Ireland. And wait till they play the Soldiers' song. You talk about Advance Australia Fair. Wait till they play the Irish national anthem, Soldiers Are We. You reckon that won't get things going? So it is going to be enormous, and I'm going up to it, and I'm going to start really leaning into getting an Irish team to be the 20th team in the AFLW. And you know what? Having watched the GAA All-Ireland final overnight for the Sam McGuire Cup, good idea that. I think we should call it the Eddie McGuire Cup. The McGuire Cups would be nice. No, okay, I've lost you. I think there's some things we need to do there. I think the AFL over the journey have always bullied the GAA to a degree. I think this is a real opportunity to get this happening and to internationalise our sport.
Well, we're talking about represent footy. Of course, news breaking. The AFL has confirmed the future of State of Origin. WA to host South Australia in 2027. The Big V will be coming in later years.
Yeah, so the next one will be South Australia, Victoria, and then
in Adelaide.
In Adelaide, and then WA, Victoria. So I think it's good. I know we'd all say, we want to have it here in Victoria, but I think the South Australians and West Australians deserve to have something like that. They're going to continue playing it where it was this year, so we have to get ourselves set about that. They have to get the whoever's coaching it needs to actually listen to the coaches of the team so that they don't keep them on the ground too much. We want to avert injury as much as possible. But the sooner we get into the idea that this is happening, and again, lean into it. I'm really sick of our game pulling back on anything that might be a different idea, Yep.
Yeah, because there's a couple of coaches and...
Yeah, but coaches come and go.
No, but
coaches are there. They're the most... They have to be the most selfish people in the world.
Yeah, but they're the ones who have most frequently one of these in front of their face. So it does have an impact. And
but the coach of San Francisco 49ers doesn't want to come to Australia. No. And it's going to make more money than any game in NFL history other than a Super Bowl.
I agree with you.
So to grow the game...
I agree with you. And you said it off the top. Let's lean into a bit more positivity about this. So that's the time of the year. But the one good thing is it's locked in. Like we're not having this ongoing debate. Should we do it? Yeah, it's locked in. Now deal with it.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit like the fixture. Come on, AFL, come out, nail the fixture for next year.
Yep.
Okay. Now there are things that need to be done. There's some negotiations that need to continue with the NFL as well. But let's get it so it works well for everybody. You know, there are a way through these things. Don't always look at what can go wrong. And this is what happens because the media climbs in all the time. You know, the media, that's us. You know, we do it every week here. But you've sometimes just got to say, because.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Because.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it.
Yep.
But what about this? Yeah, we're taking that into account. No, we're doing it because.
Yeah.
Why are we doing State of Origin? Because it's an opportunity to play another game of football in front of a capacity crowd, get another bit of television production that will bring more money into the game. The players want to play it. Everybody, let's lean in. Now, the next thing I want to put to you is if you're going to be doing what you're doing now next year and not at a club, I want you to be heavily involved in this.
I'll be involved.
I want a coach who's not involved at club level.
Yeah, but I don't have any link to WA or SA.
No, well, the one after.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm in.
What I'm saying is
I declared that.
But here's an opportunity to go get some fresh faces.
I'm all for it.
You know, I was known as Eddie everywhere, but I think the difference for me was when my career was, in full flight, was I was doing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and the footy show was different to Calling the Footy, and I was doing breakfast radio and blah, 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 blah. The same people doing the same thing every day. And I'll use Kane Corns as an example, who I'm a huge rap for.
Yep.
Right? Love Kane, and he does the work. But you don't need to have him on everything. So when he pulled out of the All-Australian team because of the conflict with his betting sponsorships, that was a good thing. Go find somebody who's not involved. We've got so many great people in our game who leave it, who don't go into media. Go get them. Keep them as part of the football family.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the same people all the time.
No.
So, I mean, last year, just to finish it off, Gary Lyon, who gives of himself, and, he couldn't do crosses on Channel 7.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he should have been wearing they should have allowed him to wear his State of Origin hat.
But I went on every channel for 23 years as President Collingwood. That's what you do. But make it easy. Have somebody who can go onto every breakfast show of a morning, go on every television show. Part of your job is, you got to be on the Eddie and Jimmy podcast at 12 o'clock. You got to be on, Daniel Gorringe at 2 o'clock. You've got to be on Footy Classified, Agendas, everywhere. Napalm the whole media and talk it up.
Yep.
And have a chairman. That's what was great when EJ was doing. EJ was sort of in the footy wilderness. I mean, he's doing a bit of K-Rock and things, but EJ came back into the scene. Billy Goggin was the coach. You had Bob Skilton was the chairman of selectors. Graham Richmond was involved after he'd finished at Richmond. Get these people around the place.
South Australia had Knuckles.
Curly, and you had Big Bad Mel Brown. You had all these great people. You had Graham Corns coaching back in those days, which led to him becoming the coach of the Adelaide Crows. That's what set him up to do that. They're the sorts of things we want to have. I mean, people like Mick Malthouse and these elder statesmen of football, get them back in. Don't you agree?
Yeah, look, I can't agree anymore.
Okay, good. All right, vigorous agreement.
We've got a blockbuster coming up on Thursday night.
Oh, this is where we're not going to agree.
No, it's even a bigger blockbuster because the Cats came off a fantastic win against the D's.
Yeah.
And the Pies, again, stormed over the border to Adelaide and made the Crows eat humble pie, I guess, if you will.
27 points down.
It was just such an impressive win.
It was a good win.
It was a good win. But
as a Collingwood man, you just sit there, just your heart was jumping out of your chest when, blokes who you couldn't find in a police lineup a month ago are setting up goals, and it was just unbelievable. So,
but
what?
You know what the talking point is, Ed?
The best tagger playing the best player. Is that it?
No.
What? What's the talking point? Oh, we're going back to the boo.
Yes.
All right, let's get the the booing thing. I was on 5AA last Tuesday, and Stephen Rowe sort of brought it up, and that old South Australian thing, which we hoped we'd get rid of. We love the passion of South Australian, but I've always had this theory that when Ted used to say we stuck it up them, everyone got the gag, but a couple of generations later, they don't get the gag. And it became the 19th man, the crowd had to be vehement. Now, I'm from Collingwood, right? So I get it. And I know what it's like. And I used to love going as a kid when it was raining and freezing cold, and you yelled and you helped the team get up and you felt like you were part of it. So we love all that. And booing is part of all that. Boo the umpire, boo the bloke who cleans up your bloke, he's the villain for the day, et cetera, et cetera. But there are elements that you don't go after people booing. You know, don't make it a congenital thing. Don't make it so that, you know, we saw what happened with Adam Goodes. You know, even if people were booing Adam Goodes for whatever reason beforehand, once it became a racial situation, it had to stop. Same with this. I mean, this is even more ridiculous in that Isaac Quaynor isn't gay, but was on the end of a homophobic slur. Isaac Rankin got rubbed out, missed the final series, and there was a pretty big suspension, recanted and has apologised, and he wants to move on. Isaac Quaynor's going, I still don't know what's going on here, but, you know, I want to go on. And I said last week on the radio to Stephen Rowe, I said, when you boo Isaac Quaynor, I said, what do you reckon it does to Collingwood? I said, that's why we win every time we play over there. We're used to having the crowd on our side. Suddenly, it's us against the world. That's the Collingwood mentality. They galvanise together. They come together. I said, but what it does do is that every time this happens, it's Isaac Rankin who goes, oh, please, don't do it. Please, I want to let this go. You know, most people had actually half forgotten about it, to be honest. Let it go. So I can see why some people want to do it because they think they're doing the right thing to support their team. I think now the education process, I don't think we need to beat people to death on it.
I was going to ask you, and please, this is not condoning actions or anything like that, but how does it get advanced? What's the solution? And if people listen to me carefully on this, is how do you move forward where there'll be an element of people who go, I pay my money, I get to do what I want.
No. But
I'm just saying. I'm putting because that is a question.
Yeah, it is.
I do talkback radio, and you've worked in radio, and you'll as just as many people will go, we don't condone it. You'll have just as many people going, well, don't tell me what to do. With just as many.
We can't do. That's why we have laws. I mean, that's why we have.
So what's the solution
we
going
have
forward?
More politicians and more laws than we can jump over. The best way is self-regulation. Right? So I remember going down to the Collingwood cheer squad and saying, don't boo Wayne Carey. Every time you quote Carey as a wanker, he kicks 10. Don't do it. It's counterintuitive. If you want to barrack for Collingwood, you want to help us, don't do it. Don't embarrass us. Don't do these things. And you know what? People go, fair enough. I had this conversation at Collingwood at various times over the years that I was the president, where I got people in and said, you know that what you're doing, I get that you think you're doing it for the right reasons, but this is what it does to us. It kills our sponsorship. It kills what we're trying to do as a club. It's not what we want to be. And I had people who were the most ferocious supporters say to me, I thought that's what I had to do to be a good Collingwood person. I thought I had to be the loudest and the most abusive and say the worst things to put them off. I thought I was helping the team. Don't forget, that were going on the ground, you know, until relatively recent times, until the mid-90s. So all you do is you say to people, and I don't think there'll be any more problem in Adelaide. I think people now over there have gone, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we don't need this. And I think the next person who boos, the crowd will get on top of it. It's not unlike when we first started doing Anzac Day in the minute silence, and you'd always get some idiot yelling out, go Dons or go Bombers or go Pies, you know, and everyone turned around and goes, shut up, idiot. And after a while, the idiots all shut up. And that's what it is. That's where you need to be. Yep. So I agree with you. Telling people or trying to legislate doesn't work. Letting people come to that position and realising that what they're doing is counterintuitive to everything they're wanting to is called evolution. I think that works. Yeah. But I think also, you know, Kate McCarthy and a few other people, you know, have written some good things.
Yeah.
And I
articulated it very well.
And I think the tone has been good in that the people saying, hey, listen, this is what it means to people. I mean, you go to the footy, barrack as hard as you like, but you don't have to insult people. You don't have to make their day bad. I mean, the day being bad is winning, singing the song at the end. You owe me a Tats Lotto ticket. Now let's go home. That's what's great about it. Anyway, can I get your thoughts?
No, I think you spoke about it well, and you're right. Kate McCarthy and amongst many others, I think you've articulated it really well. You sort of, it's disappointing it overshadowed that it was. Yeah. Isaac Quaynor hadn't done anything wrong, and it was his 150th as well.
Yeah.
And that became the talking point of it. You know, I'm very much a person who just wants footy to be footy and you know, celebrate the on-field stuff, but it became a hot button topic pretty much straight away.
Yeah, I think Isaac in the end came away won with the points.
He was first class.
They had sore throats from booing him in the first quarter. He had the ball on a string.
He did have had 5 or 6 touches in the first 5 minutes. And he handled himself with an incredible amount of class the next day when he got door stopped.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
And I think he spoke on behalf of Isaac Rankin, and I thought he spoke beautifully.
He did.
So that's it. So the key to that is also those then trying to hammer a point, right? So most people are in the middle on these things, and you go, yeah, what we've just discussed, fair enough. Don't overbake the cake either, okay? Don't overplay your hand on those who are saying, ban this, it's disgusting. And yeah, we get it, but move through. As you say, when you really start to tell people you can't do this, it's a lot different to don't do that. Yeah, it's no good for any of us. Yeah, fair enough.
Same old Suns, Ed. They've hit the skids. The thing about them is, yep, they've got talent, but they've got only talent in one phase of the game. So the old, as you always hear, there's 3 phases of the game. You've got the ball, they've got the ball, and the ball's in dispute. They only play one phase of the game. It's when they've got it.
Yeah.
And so there've actually got to be some conversations and missions. Structurally, have we got it wrong? Personnel, do we have it wrong? Or is it a mindset, or I guess the way we're telling them to play? Because if you've lost 9 on the bounce from a side that was premiership favourite after 3 rounds, they might only be talented in one aspect of the game, and you've just got too many of those guys. So the other thing too is, we pointed out, there was Ben King burning Ben Long, where he could have just given him a handball and just bring your teammate in the game. And Ben Long's a guy who runs around doing a lot of work for a lot of forwards. And then we had the Leo Lombard and Christian Petrarca situation, where the senior player not only gave him one bake. After the second one, he thought, I'll turn him over and char grill him on the third side, which Lombard fired back and told him to get effed.
Yeah, and I would have too. Yeah.
So it's not a quick fix.
Well, can I go back a couple of weeks? And the photo of 2 Gold Coast Suns
the video,
going into a disabled toilet at the State of Origin. Good teamwork in there to, wipe each other's bot or whatever they were doing. Is that what they were doing there?
Crossing swords.
I don't know what they were doing, but anyway, that to me was the biggest alarm bell about the Gold Coast Suns. Okay, now the Gold Coast, everyone always says, no teams ever work up there. It's an interesting place, the Gold Coast.
It has been the Bermuda Triangle for sports.
Yeah, but it's an interesting place. If you want to go up there and want to live a lifestyle, it's all there for you, whichever lifestyle you want to play, right? If you want to go up there, there could be no place on earth better to prepare yourself to play professional sport than the Gold Coast. If you want to go up and live a certain lifestyle, there is no better place on earth to get yourself into trouble and to head down that road. So, again, it's interesting at the moment where senior players now are playing longer and clubs are looking at them rather than going for young blokes who've had a bit of trouble and do you hope that they...
Right the ship.
Yeah. I just wonder whether or not... Mick Malthouse used to say this. He said, football teams are like a snowman. He said, you've got the small head, you've got the big guts, and you've got the pyramid. He said, if the small head are the dickheads in the club, you're probably a chance because the bottom will pull it down. If it's the other way, if the small head are the good people and you've got more idiots at the bottom, they're going to drag you down.
But you wank at the normal person ratio.
You've got to get your ratio. your ratio's right. You can carry some rats, right? But you can't have a ship full of rats. So I just wonder whether that's something they need to look at.
Yeah. Well, what's pretty telling...
And make some calls.
Yeah. What's pretty telling is... I'll throw Luke Hodge into this because it's quite rightly... But the 3 most influential captains since the year 2000 has been Luke Hodge, Joel Selwood and Michael Voss. Now, I apologise I've missed Hodgie. You can't get across all media. But I heard Michael Voss and I heard Joel Selwood post the Gold Coast Suns game. So you got 3 of the greatest captains, and I'm giving Hodgie credit. But 2 of them, into microphones, said, I wouldn't have handled it the way Christian's handled it. Now, that's... If you're ever going to defer to a way a senior player or call it leadership, on-field leadership, you've got Michael Voss and Joel Selwood articulating that that's not the way to go about it. It's pretty telling.
But if you're sitting around all day with your main senior players, and the conversation is, are you going to Hawthorn? Are you going here? Are you going there? You know, I should be getting paid $2 million, all that sort of stuff, without actually having fired a shot. But that's, you know, I don't know what the answer is, but I do know what the answer is. You know, I think that the hardest thing for these teams that are transplanted is actually getting on top of them.
Building a club.
What is it? But it's easy for clubs to fall off. It's not like, you know.
No, they take a lot of work.
Mate, it's a delicate thing. It can swing in a matter of months sometimes, where suddenly people get off the chain, and you've got to be on it all the time. But this whole thing now that the players have got the power, and you know, if you tell somebody don't do that, they'll nick off at the end of the year. Drive them to the airport, get them out.
Yeah, you got to be strong. You got to draw a line at somewhere.
Well, you do. Otherwise, it's just happens again. Definition of insanity. But the Gold Coast started the year as at times grand final favourite, premiership favourite.
Yeah, they walloped Geelong opening round, which
Yep.
I think Geelong just went up and mailed that one in. But then the next couple of weeks, they looked electric.
Yeah. Well, they don't now.
Yeah.
In a power strike. So, yeah, that's no good. And you're on of the GWS. Well, I keep saying that to you. You're there for 5 minutes, but
I was there for 6 years.
oh, well, sorry, I was letting you off the hook. No, it's your fault then.
No, well, I've had a couple of years off. No, I've actually said this a few times, and again, I'm so intrigued at the decisions that they need to make at the end of the year, and that's just not on field. So, obviously, discussion of the mix of Sydney versus Canberra. Their relationship with the AFL, how much actually now the AFL actually wants to roll their sleeves up and get to work in Western Sydney. The list stuff, what is going on with Hogan, Stringer and Toby Green. Do they just see it as a year where, well, next year Tom Green comes back in, we have more of Sam Taylor and Jack Buckley. It was just a year where one good player comes in, two players go out. How good are our young players? It's going to be a real fascinating watch to see how they value their year or how they evaluate it, sorry.
Yeah.
And then the decisions off the back of that.
Well, it's an interesting one with just the way the AFL over the years have gone with their expansion. They've always sent the worst team to an area that doesn't want football.
What do you mean the worst team?
Well, you know, North Melbourne were getting sent everywhere, and you know, even the Sydney Swans, when South Melbourne went to Sydney, they were the worst team in the competition, going up to somewhere. You know, it's the old nightclub routine, mate. The old rules of nightclub, and that is, there's no point spending all night convincing somebody who hates you to hate you less. You may as well actually spend your time with somebody who likes you to get them to really like you. Okay, so with GWS, I would put this to you. You and I think are in vigorous agreement on this, and that is, I'd change the name to New South Wales Giants. And I'd play them in Canberra, and I'd play them in at the SCG.
You can't call them New South Wales if they're in Canberra.
Yeah, Canberra's
different territory.
Yeah, but it's whatever. Call them the Giants, okay? Get rid of Greater Western is what I'm saying.
Yep.
There's no point naming them after something that doesn't exist, okay? And I think the pivot, right? It's not a tear it all up. The pivot is that the AFL have looked at GWS about what they're doing in that particular area. Now, that's a long build out there, and I'm not close enough to it to know whether they're doing good, bad or indifferent. But if you actually turn it into a really good team, right, because partly what we want to do is have the TV rights and get things going. Maybe we need to play a little bit more. Maybe we need to have an AFL venue on the north shore of the harbour, right, on the other side of the harbour where Mossman and all these great players are, and you can still play out there. You know, maybe the AFL needs to go back and get Stadium Australia. I remember we paid $5 million to configure that into an oval. I don't know what happened to that. But, you know, and get some more games up there, like, you know, Collingwood going up or Carlton going up. Move them around. Why wouldn't we be playing in Canberra more? It's the national capital. That's where all the politicians are. That's where the money is. Use them for what they are. Use them as a marketing. That doesn't mean necessarily getting kids to play. I remember being in a conversation at a president's meeting where Richard Collis said, we can't get them to play. And I said, well, why don't we just get them to watch? That's what we want. We want viewers, not necessarily players. And subsequently, the Sydney Swans have done a great job with their academies, and we're getting players coming through.
Well, that's been, you touched on there, one of the many issues I guess, regarding traction is that the AFL has used them as a marketing term. They've played at like 14 different venues the previous year, and I think it was 13 the year before. That you can't actually condition your market if you're never there.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. They've always haven't been able to address the issue when they've got to be out of town.
But as Jack Dyer said, mate, there's no use being where the ball ain't.
Yeah, correct.
So there's no point having a market that doesn't exist when there is one that could be cultivating.
No, I agree. But I keep coming back to the fact that is going back to when I first started there, before everyone wanted the 4 o'clock time slot.
Yeah.
That was the only request the Giants asked, and they got everything but it. Because you've got to actually condition the market. It's North Melbourne on Friday nights, the Swans on Sunday conversation as well. They've got to come up with a solution of you can't, when the season launches, and then you can't immediately be out of your market for 6 weeks because...
Mate, the key, Kerry Packer and Kerry Stokes, I've had the conversation with both of them, and they are both adamant that you must know that your news starts at 6 o'clock. You have to have permanency on your scheduling.
Yep.
You know? So I agree with you.
And then you add to the fact that, again, it's a timing thing, and what ended up happening, the AFL, if you gave them the true serum, kept under-investing as far as game development. That's the AFL's role, not the Giants' role. I know the Giants get lumped with it. But then also coming out of COVID, and then they were really poor in trying to ramp up, hey, we're back, everybody's back.
Yeah.
And so you've got those factors which now you're paying the price for.
Yep, totally agree. I think GWS actually do a pretty good job.
Well, as far as
I'm up on GWS.
As far as not you take away not getting the ultimate success, well, the only success,
they've been good.
Premiership.
They put us out in the preliminary final.
Well, they played finals 5 years into their lifespan.
Again, I'm a supporter. Anything I've said there is in good faith. And that's why I'm sort of onto the Gold Coast. I've said to you before, if I couldn't buy Collingwood, I would buy the Gold Coast Suns.
They're doing lots of good stuff in South East.
And we might have actually had a bit of a kick of the tyres at one stage. No, but seriously, I still would. Maybe that's what it needs. Maybe it needs somebody, and it's not having a go at the committee who are up there and doing everything. And I speak to Tony Cochrane, the former president, who puts so much time and effort into it. But I don't know. I think
I don't
know if they've got the culture at the Gold Coast Suns that we have at Collingwood and you have at Geelong, where people are prepared to die for the club.
Yeah,
You've got to have a bit of that around your club. Now, I look at Tassie already, he's getting a bit of that feel, and I just wonder whether or not these...
Well, that's why they're hopeful that the more kids they get out of that area.
Yeah.
Because then you've lived there, you've grown up with this. I think it was... it's the Eulans were actually the first lot that grew up as Gold Coast Suns supporters.
Yeah. Yep.
So...
Anyway.
Hey, we've got a talking point here, but it's part of my DP.
Yeah,
rub it in. So do we
Let's go to deep, Pete.
Yes.
Okay. Deep.
Rub it in, our chance to say I told you so or brag about a victory.
Right.
Thanks to Ice Gel from the makers of Deep Heat. Feel at work. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. So can I jump in over the top? Can I take the new ball?
Yeah, please.
Because it's a bit about this.
Right.
So clearly Ty Gallup and Mitch Georgiades incident. So for people who haven't seen it, two big key position players, bumping each other, all that, doing what they do. Ty Gallup swings Mitch around into a tackle, and he doesn't bang his head, but of course the first reaction is, ooh, could that be a dumping tackle? Clears him. Ball gets played away. Behind the camera footage picks up, Gallup picks him up by the back of the jumper, almost the reverse scruff of the neck, and then lifts him up and bangs his head back into the dirt. Now, everyone going, well, he'll probably only escape with a fine. This is my rub it in, is... I've spent 3 years now with you. You have been on many radio stations. I've been on radio stations. And to wear black and blue, we're not the only ones who have said this, but there has been many of people with AFL experience and, of course, have seen the game for so long who've said, we need to fix the MRO.
Yep.
But yet, and again, this has nothing to do with Michael Christian. He can only deal with the framework in front of him. Mm-hmm. So my rub it in is, Greg Swan even said last year, we can't have situations regarding Paul Curtis where we've got situations where there's 3 weeks or 0 weeks. Mm-hmm. We've had another handful of those this year where a player has received 3 weeks because the alternative is 0 weeks. So again, that's a reflection that there is a problem with the system. So just let me finish this point.
Yeah, sure.
Now, I call it football and non-football. I've heard Daniel Harford call it goose tax. We've heard all different reasons. So by the lack of inaction of actually addressing the problem, you are now telling myself and many people I speak to that you actually think the system we've got is perfect. So that is what you're telling us. So Greg Swan and everyone at the AFL thinks the MRO is perfect because they're doing sweet stuff all about it.
So give me the answer.
The answer is, we are fixing it and we're changing
Okay,
it.
so let's stick on this one. What does Ty Gallop get in your book?
Well, that's a non-football act, so we're starting in a week and then we're working out actually the severity of what he's done.
Yeah, so Ty, you've jumped on his back, you've picked him up when he's vulnerable, and you slammed his head into the ground.
Yeah, so we're at a week. And I think even...
You're at 3 weeks, aren't you?
No, well, my point being is...
Yeah, you start at one.
You're a non-football act, which they start at a week, and when we start going, well, are we going 2 or are we going 3?
Yeah.
And
Oh, but I think we're all in vigorous agreement again.
yeah, correct. So, but
just do it.
But do you get my frustration? And many people I speak
Totally.
To, that I actually genuinely think they like that it's broken, because well, you and I are talking about it.
Yeah, I know.
But
again,
social media is blowing up about it.
But this is what ends up happening. We have these shows. We had the joy of the GAA before. We should be doing 10 minutes on Wanganeen Malira's game yesterday.
Yeah.
And
Brisbane look like they're
and Dacos
they're flying.
And Brisbane are going well. Jack Gunston, what a fantastic performance.
And Geelong were supposed to be shot, but
yeah,
now all of a
and
sudden
they
they
fought
beat
back.
Melbourne.
And we haven't gone back to Dacos versus Mullins this week. That's what we should be talking about. So I agree with you. The AFL had this. They sort of talked themselves into the more oxygen we steal, so that way we have the draft at this time of the year, and we have free agency, and we have all the trade radio and all that type of stuff, which is great. I'm not knocking any of that, but we end up picking a scab every Monday off the same things.
Yep.
That would be easily fixed.
Yep. It can be. There's lawyers in.
Get rid of the lawyers.
But there's what I'm saying. There is. It's not like we've got a shortage of personnel.
How do you reckon our legal system's just going at the moment? just because everyone always says, lawyers are involved. Every time lawyers get involved.
My point being, there is a lot of smart people at the world governing body of Australian rules football that is stationed in Docklands, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Yeah. And this isn't a new thing. Well,
I bring a taunting rule in for a start. Okay, so that covers that. There's your 1 week, and then it escalates from there. You know what I hate about our game at the moment? What have we been going for 45 minutes? You've turned me from being on holidays and coming in all fresh into what I hate. I hate the fact that we have taken the courage of going for the ball out of the game and allowed the shitmen, the narcs, to be able to...
Did you say shitmen?
Yeah, I hate them. I hate these people, the plastic gangsters in football who go up and, know that they can't give away a free kick and urge, Instead of what I used to love about our game was there's the ball, go get it, get in and go after it. So we've taken a bump out of the game, which for reasons of concussion, I understand, but we've actually I see players now run to a contest and run alongside it. But then at the same time, we allow all these other stupid things to happen. Anyway. All right, let's move on. What else?
The Bartel Medal.
Oh, let's get into that. What have you got?
Well, Jamal's given his votes. He's been pretty consistent. He's given Nick Dacos 3, Jarman Impey 2, and Patrick Cripps 1.
Been a good player, Jarman Impey, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been magnificent.
Yeah. Good to see Cripper have a good day.
He's had a good 8 to 9 weeks, Cripper.
Yep. And sensational to see Nick Dacos have a wonderful day.
He's great. He was special. Lots of guys there with 1 vote. Some 2 votes I want to highlight was Oisin Mullen.
Yeah. All right, so let's stop for a second. Right.
You've been edging at this all show.
No. Well, let's go. Dacos and Mullen.
Yes.
All right, come on. You're one of the greatest midfielders ever. What do you do?
If you're Oisin or Nick?
Well, let's go Oisin.
Well, as many possessions as Nick can have in the back half, that's the aim. You're not going to stop Nick Dacos getting the football.
Yeah.
So you want as many possessions as Nick is facing away from Collingwood's goal. So by that is, the whole entire time, you look at the famous number 35 if you're Oisin, and you want the closest view of that. So that's not pushing in the back, but that's the position. Mm-hmm. So then you can angle him, you can be there, you can take him into traffic, hopefully. But Oisin's got some athletic skills that can keep with Nick. But what he wants to do is...
And he's a big boy too.
Yeah.
And he's brave.
If Nick has 30, he has 30, and he's more than likely. But you want as many as those 30 handballing to someone else from Collingwood. Let them try and beat us, which they've got plenty of players to do that. Or Nick having a kick in the back 50 or taking kick-ins, they're the stuffing livers. Where he rips you apart.
Yeah.
Is anything that gets that forward to centre or he's hitting the scoreboard.
So how do you do it? All right, we're coaching. We're Craig McRae.
Well, it becomes a team focus. So
Exactly. I'd almost put Ed Allen onto Ocean Mullins.
yeah,
I'd tag the tagger.
That's what happens. You create that ring of road.
In the old days, you'd run through him, but you can't do that anymore.
No, you'd be a lot of blocks. You'd be trying any chance you get to give it to him because then you want the counter to keep going up because players feel that. If you've got a tagging role on someone and you see him get another one and then get another one, you go, well, everyone thinks I'm doing a lousy job and then he gets another one.
Yep.
So that's the way you can
But what I'm saying is that I think Collingwood have to put a bit of time into Mullins.
Yeah, they will. Ed Allen will run past and block and do what a lot of sides do to Max Gawn when he runs over to a stoppage. They stand in his way. You make him go around. You take it starts to wear down.
I'd go a bit harder.
Oh, yeah, how are you going?
No, I mean, I'd put a focus on him. When I say hard, I'm not saying physically belt him or anything. Or, within the rules you would. But I'd just like to see a bigger body. Because he's got that big body. I think Ed Allen's got a good...
Didn't he play well?
Well, he is. And he can run.
Mm.
Yeah, give him something to think about.
Give him one too.
Thanks, Slug.
So there's a couple of cats there. Jack Gunson, the ageless wonder.
He was great, wasn't he?
Darcy Cameron. Paddy Cripps got 2 votes. Me, Grundy. My 3 voters. Nick Dacos, of course. Connor O'Sullivan. The Cats just find another key defender.
He's a beauty, isn't he?
Murphy Reid, Jagger Smith, Impey, Goulden, Red Richards, Bont and Will Ashcroft. Have you seen Will Ashcroft's last 8 weeks of football?
Yeah, he's going right, isn't he?
Been exceptional.
Yeah.
And 4 voter.
4?
We got a special 4 voter this week.
Yeah.
Messiah Wanganeen Malaria.
Does that mean he'll get 3 Brownlow votes? Usually he gets 2 votes for a 4 voter.
Yeah, the AFL.
We gave McCarr last year.
Yeah,
off the back of it.
The AFL caved, and now they're giving umpires the stats. Yeah. So he'll definitely get.
Can I go back to your ones? And one that sticks out to me is the bloke everyone said had to retire last week, Steel Sidebottom.
He was awesome.
He was fantastic, wasn't he?
He was so good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a big fan of Steel Sidebottom. Always have been. Our leaderboard, Naz on 24, Marcus Bontempelli on 36, and Nick Dacos on 38.
38. All right. So one question. There's been a lot of talk about senior citizen players going on. And I think now it's so important to keep these players in the game as best you can. I mean, they go off a cliff eventually. But if you can get them to, I think what Patrick Dangerfield's been able to do most of the year is going beautifully.
He's going on. He's hunting towards 400 games, Danger.
But Jack Gunston's got another year. Collingwood's got some decisions, but at the moment, everyone's saying, Sidebottom should go. How's
got to go again.
But I heard, this is where sometimes I headbutt the television. I think it was one of our shows too, discussing that he should go to Essendon. He'd be fantastic at Essendon. And
no, I think the discussion around that wasn't from a...
I know what the discussion was.
It was...
Please.
It's what Essendon needs.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah, no, the point being is they need some, Hodge types.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't anti-Collingwood. Calm down. Pump the brakes.
Seriously.
Calm down.
Yeah, God, get how to go to...
I thought you said you had a holiday.
No, it's stupid things that have been said.
It's not stupid. It wasn't anti-Collingwood. It was
I'm not saying anti-Collingwood.
It's actually a tick of how great Jeremy Howe is.
Yeah, my point
is... Take it on board as a compliment.
My point is that the clubs that have these blokes shouldn't let them go. Keep them.
Yeah, but if it's not the my check. If you're not going to give him 3 years, a club will give him more years and then they get the benefit of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It wasn't anti-Collingwood.
No, I'm not saying it was anti-Collingwood. But it would be like saying, I'll go the other way.
Go for it.
Patrick Dangerfield should go to Essendon.
He'd be a great selection.
He'd be fantastic.
He would be fantastic.
Yeah, it'd be great. Why don't we send him down there?
No, it'd be fantastic.
Just be stupid to do so. I mean, God almighty.
That's the answer. You go, yes, he'll be fantastic for Essendon. He's never going to Essendon.
But see, it goes back to my original point that we said about putting teams where they are. Don't destroy the good places to try and prop up the ordinary joints.
Don't worry. He's not going to Essendon.
Essendon has just got to rebuild. Can I throw one last one at you?
Oh, hang on.
Carlton and Essendon. Any danger they just appoint their coach?
Because I reckon actually, you did start off the top of this. We should have circled back to this quicker.
Essendon is just now in reverse.
Rapidly.
Make the decision. Now, I've read in the paper that there's Spike McVeigh, Dean Solomon, James Hird, and there's a
Murray, Davis from Adelaide.
Now, with the greatest respect to Murray, who could be Norm Smith rolled into Jock McHale into Mick Malthouse. Who?
Well, what? All signs point to it.
No, he's not the right bloke for Essendon.
Well, it's an Essendon person. That's what it said.
No, but forget that. You can't put Murray into Essendon at the moment. He wouldn't last 3 weeks. It's a madhouse down there, right? Why don't they just come out now and appoint James Hird, Spike McVeigh, Dean Solomon, and I'd get Murray for good measure if he's a good coach, because it's a completely different setup.
Are you saying appoint all 3?
I'd hire them all.
But what if they all want to be top dog?
Well, you say, I'm in charge, you're the top dog, you're the assistant top dog in charge of this area, and you're in charge of that area, and Hirdy, you're going to galvanise the whole club, right? So you're a club coach as well, and Murray, you're a superstar, in you go too. But get on with it.
So you'd say Herd coach with McVeigh and Solomon as assistants?
Well, assistants will give them another name, but yeah, they've got to get the best they can. They've got to go and find everybody. Just get the best people you possibly can. But my point is this, they've got a month left. Don't waste it.
And Carlton just hire...
Oh, well, Carlton's a bit different because they're playing all right, so they can, and I think they're down to their last couple, so leave them. But I just reckon the Bombers, it's now pretty obvious where it's all heading, if it wasn't obvious from day one. But get on with it, is my advice to them now. Don't waste the last month. Get in, have a look at the kids, change them up, start pre-season now, get them going.
I think a lot of Essendon fans would think the same.
Well, there you go.
Good to have you back.
Andrew Welsh has got to think the same way as me. But don't you agree? I think
all signs.
You get caught up in all this stuff about processes and things. Yes, you've got to have them and all this stuff, but ultimately you've got to make the call.
Yeah, well, it's clearly just
get on with it.
An Essendon person.
But I don't care.
But that one thing is don't play all the theatrics of grabbing, we've spoken to this person from another club. They're all saying, well,
but I don't care if it's somebody from another club. Just make the appointment. If it's Jimmy Bartel, make the appointment now. You've got a month left.
Yeah.
You've had, how long have we had? They've had a year that knew they were going to sack Scott.
Do you reckon they knew that for that long?
Yeah, I think the day that Dean Solomon went off the board and into the coaching box, that was the end of Chris Scott. Brad Scott.
Brad Scott, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, maybe that was the plan, to get Dean to be the senior coach.
Probably was. Yeah. Now they've had a good look at him and they're like, we'll hire him then. Do it. But I think time's of the essence. Get on with it.
All right.
As it is here. Get to us on Eddie and Jimmy at tapt, T-A-P-T, media.com.au. Our great friends at D-Pete. You're using a bit of D-Pete at the moment?
We use the Icy Gel.
You like the Icy Gel, don't you?
Good for my foot.
I haven't gone to the Icy Gel yet. What's the upside on Icy Gel?
It takes a little bit of the swelling away for you, and sometimes when you get sore, it gets that hot feeling about it. Just cools out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there's another way to get a hot feeling, and that is go to visit Fiji Airways and fly to Fiji. It's magnificent up there. And Alexio at Hyundai at the moment. All the trouble in the Middle East. You want to get on the electric cars? Well, Hyundai have got a fantastic one. Go to your local dealer and have a test drive. Talk to you on Wednesday. Jimmy, thank you, mate, for holding the shop. Great to have you back, pal.
Easy.